leave it all behind you. I said, take down everything that stands in your way. Don't stop believing it'll work out again, my friend. Stand out and be a part of everything good. Wake up, you're gonna be all that you should. Try out all the things you've always wanted to be. You'll see, 'cause I know what I know, that you've got it in you, and I see that you are a winner.
An article that I found that it's written by Pastor John. The website is called Desiring God, and it just demonstrates so much the arrogance of Christians, of the mentality that, you know, if you're not a Christian, you're going to go to hell. Yeah, our religion is so right. Of all the religions that have ever been in human history, that if you're anything else but our religion, you're going to go to hell. If you don't believe exactly the way we do, you're going to go to hell. So anyway, interview with John Piper, founder and teacher, desiringgod.org. Yes, I would desire a God that would torture people for all eternity just for not being able to believe something. Sure. Okay, so the article. A question from Michael. Pastor John, how can I talk to my 6-year-old son about hell? When any loved one has died who has also been a Christian, I have told them they have gone to heaven. But if someone dies who is not a Christian, I do not want to lie and say they have gone to heaven. Oh, but I do not know how to teach him about hell. Trying not to interject, but I have so many thoughts right now. He has extreme anxiety about death, and I am afraid talking about hell may make him more anxious. Okay, I have to interject. When I was 6 years old, I had no knowledge of death. Actually, that's not true. My dad died when I was 6, but before he died, I had no knowledge of death. I wasn't extremely anxious about it. When I was 4, I almost died of nephritis, which is kidney failure, and it was a very peaceful sensation. I remember going to sleep thinking that I might die, and I did that for like a month. And I was never afraid of it. It was just a very peaceful, very calm feeling that I had about it. So here we have a 6-year-old who's very anxious about death. Wonder why? Could it be because he's being brought up by people who are obsessed about death and are constantly talking about it? But the guy who's writing this, or the question, Michael, I know I'm huge interjection, his assumption, but if someone dies who is not a Christian, I do not want to lie and say they have gone to heaven. How do you know where they've gone? How does anybody know where they've gone? How does anybody know they go anywhere? There's no evidence to show that there's such a thing as heaven or hell. Yet the assumption is just unbelievable. Okay, I'll try not to interject anymore, but that's just so, it just angers me. And I'm sorry, but a little child who's afraid of death, that's the product of child abuse, mental abuse of a child. A little 6-year-old should not have to be thinking about death quite yet, or walking around thinking that they're born broken and they need to be fixed, for that matter. Okay. He also gets very upset when he makes any kind of mistake. This is why Christianity is poison. Imagine a little 6-year-old child who gets upset if he isn't perfect. He doesn't even get to have a childhood. He's too busy thinking, oh my gosh, what if I make a mistake? Oh no, I might go to hell. I might be tortured for all eternity because I'm not perfect. This is an evil, poisonous religion. And this article, I'm never going to get through it because this is making me upset, and I'm only in the first paragraph. By the way, I haven't read it yet. I just saw it online, and the person who posted it on Facebook said that this made their blood boil. So of course I wanted to read it, but I also kind of wanted to read it talk about it as I read it. Okay, so we're going to try to read some more without interjecting. Maybe we'll start at the beginning so you guys don't have the interruption of me blathering. This is, it says at the top, audio transcript, so this is apparently was a verbal thing. A question from Michael. Pastor John, how can I talk to my 6-year-old son about hell when any loved one has died who has also been a Christian? Mouse noises, I'm sorry. I have told him they have gone to heaven, but if someone dies who is not a Christian, I do not want to lie and say they have gone to heaven, but I do not know how to teach him about hell. He has extreme anxiety, 6 years old, about death, and I am afraid talking about hell may make him more anxious. He also gets very upset when he makes any kind of mistake or when I have to correct him. I do not want him to worry that if he disobeys that he will be sent to hell. How in the world can I teach him this? Now we're going to have our learned theologian, professor, Bible expert respond. Let me start by turning the tables and saying we should be 100 times more concerned about a 6-year-old who has no fear of death and hell than we are about a child who fears death and hell. Sorry. He's encouraging this person to continue to abuse his child. Make that child terrified of even getting up in the morning and fucking putting his clothes on and breathing the air, because heaven help that he might actually make a mistake or do something wrong. We want our children to live in fear, constant fear of this whatever. I'm sorry, it's just evil. This is such a fucking evil cult. Maybe I won't be able to read this. I have to go to work pretty quick too, and I have to... How long is the article? Okay, it's really long, so I'm going to come back when I have more time, maybe like 2 o'clock in the morning when I get back from work. But I will finish his response. I will finish his first, this pastor's comment, and then I'll stop for right now. Let me start by turning the tables and saying we should be 100 times more concerned about a 6-year-old who has no fear in death and hell than we are about a child who fears death and hell. One of the reasons we may not feel that is because when a child has no fear, we tend to go along as though all is well. He's such a happy little fellow, and she's such a cheerful little girl. When a child has anxieties, nightmares, fears, then all of our parental instincts and mind go into gear and action because we want to help them, not realizing perhaps that the child with no fear needs even more help from parental vigilance and concern than the child with much fear. I want to encourage Michael that the problem he is dealing with is a good problem to have. If he were not dealing with it, there would be more reason to be concerned than there is now. How do we help a 6-year-old child deal with the terrifying reality? Notice he says reality. We're just going to pump that assumption that it's all real based on no evidence whatsoever. The terrifying reality of our fictional characters in our fictional book. We're going to make our child so afraid, and that's a good thing, because he'll be more likely to knuckle under all the things that we, the cult, want him to do. We want our little minions to be afraid. Oh, this angers me. Okay. Okay, we're trying. Okay, again, like I said, I'm trying to get a chunk of this in here before I go off to work, and then I'll come back and finish this. Okay. How do we help a 6-year-old child deal with the terrifying reality of hell and death? Well, yes, death is real. I will go along with that. And it's really not that terrifying, but Christianity makes it terrifying, doesn't it? Oh yeah, they ramp up the terror of death. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. Oh, well, there's a way out. You just have to jump through all of our little hoops. Actually, death is just as natural as birth. I've had several animals put to sleep, and I've watched their animals know when they're going to die. Animals know more than people know. They have instincts that people have lost. They know when they're going to die. And I don't see fear. I don't see terror in the eyes of an animal that's dying. I might see sadness, like they're sad because they know that they won't see me anymore. I see sadness. Perhaps I'm reading into it, but it seems to me that it's sadness. I don't see fear. I've seen fear before on my animals, and that isn't what I see when they're close to death. It isn't fear. And there's nothing to fear from death. Nothing to fear from death. It's just a natural part of life, part of the circle of whatever. It's natural. It's normal. Why do humans fear it so much? Death is bad. Birth is good. Death is bad. Why? So yes, the terrifying reality. Yeah, let's pump the fear of hell and death. Yeah. The main thing is to realize that God intends for our real and wise fear of hell to be a means of clarifying and establishing in our hearts at least 5 great realities. Oh, there's 5 great realities with 0 evidence to support even one of them. But we're going to call them realities. Yeah, we're going to just assume that they're real because we have a book that says so. 5 great truths. Now they're truths. Yeah, based on no evidence whatsoever except a book. God does not intend for his children to experience hell as an end, but to experience the warning of hell as a means of clarifying and establishing these 5 great realities. This is true for a 6-year-old, and it's true for a 60-year-old. Look at this moment, Michael, in the child's life as a golden opportunity to fucking manipulate him and fill him with fear and make him into a ready recipient of our cult's message. Oh, I see what this person who posted this means. This is just disgusting. Really? Okay. It's a magical, wonderful moment. It's a golden opportunity for teaching him many wonderful things, like the fact that he was born broken, like the fact that he inherited all the sins of his fathers and mothers and their fathers and mothers and all the way back to the beginning, and he has absolutely no say in the matter. Hell is simply the backdrop against which those things will now become gloriously real. Here they are. Oh, and they're so gloriously real. The fear of hell is a golden opportunity for treating God as big and glorious and utterly real. Yes! It is hard for human beings who are sinful. What is sin? Sin is crime against God, isn't it? Well, if you don't prove God's exist, what does that word mean then? Sinful. Crime against what? Yes, don't let the little child walk around enjoying his childhood. Let's have him worry about, well, gee, is it going to break? Am I going to commit some kind of crime against God? The imaginary being that my parents tell me is real, so I can live in fear and walk around thinking that there's something wrong with me because I was born corrupt and broken, and I did nothing wrong. I just happened to be born, and that automatically makes me the recipient of all the bad things all humans have done since the dawn of time. And so the only way for me to be a right and whole and complete human being is if I take on Christianity. Yes, this wonderful, wonderful, true belief system. Yes, it's so true compared to all those other belief systems that are false. Yes, they're all false. All those other belief systems are false. But our Christian belief system, based on no evidence whatsoever except that we have a book and a warm, fuzzy feeling, our religion is true, and we should make all of our children be afraid. It's a really good thing because it helps promote the 5 glorious truths. Yes! Okay, I am going to have to break away now to go to work, and I will be fuming the entire time I'm at work thinking about this disgusting article, and then I will come back and finish this video. Actually, I've decided to make this a 2-parter since the second part turned out to be unbelievably long. So if you want to see the rest of this, me talking about this disgusting article, you'll have to go to part 2. Anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.
I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt.